now. May is about the mojo, friends. How about day one? Raise your hand if you had record sales on day one. I should see everyone's hands because it was amazing. It was so freaking amazing. We qualified elite status on day one. We broke off with over $10,000 in sales as a team. And if that's not a roar, I don't know what it is, because it was phenomenal to watch you guys just go at it with guns a-blazing and do amazing things. And when it comes to really creating momentum, I don't know another team out there that is doing what we're doing. We are literally blowing the other teams out of the water, and it's because you guys are showing up consistently, and its proof is in the pudding because of who's here right now, and we're doing such amazing things. And so I just wanted to start this call off with telling you guys how proud I am. I see the work you're doing, and it is so special to watch you start to harvest those things and become the leaders and start to step into the business builders that we all believed that you could be on the day you hit join. So I'm so proud of each and every one of you. This week I wanted to talk specifically about the idea of goal mapping, and not just mapping, but goal achieving, because I feel like so much of this business is dream building, where we're thinking about, oh, I want to do this, or oh, I want to do that, and I want to get to this status, and wouldn't it be awesome if I earned the trip? But then we have no solid plan of action. And so tonight I thought that we could break down a plan for how to implement goal setting in a way that it's practical and tangible, and it's going to help you guys execute your goals and have a higher success rate. So does that sound good? All right, so I'm going to go to speaker view, and now I'm Big Head Fred right in the center, and I'm going to share my screen. Where is my PowerPoint? Let's see. Sorry. Share screen. Okay. Share screen. Okay. So can you guys see my slides here that say, oh, wait, go back. Goal setting. Can you guys see this? Is it weird, or is it perfectly in the center? Somebody.
It's good.
Okay, good. So goal setting is critical to your success in this business. If you don't have goals, you're not going anywhere. If you can't decide on what you want to do in this business, you're just going to spin yourself in circles like a dog chasing its tail. So how do you take your dreams to reality? And that's essentially what we're going to walk through. Over the over most of this team call, we're going to talk about how to determine what your goals are, how to dig deeper for your why. We're going to talk about how to plan and execute your goals, and then what some of the common limitations are, and how we can get over those little hurdles that are going to come up along the way. So the first thing is that a goal is an observable and measurable end result having one or more objectives to be achieved with more or less in a fixed time frame. What does that mean? It means you got a dream and you want to have it done by a certain time, right? So the biggest part of goal setting is to give it a deadline. You can't just say, I want to be black status, and just meander your way through and expect it to manifest. You have to say, I'm going to be black status in 2019, and I'm going to run for it in November. I'm speaking from experience. That's what I'm doing. That's my goal, right? Black status in November. Write it down. I'm sharing my goal with you guys. Now I'm accountable. So that's the biggest part of understanding what a goal is that it's got to be observable and measurable within a fixed time frame. So sometimes our goals are so lofty, we can't actually execute them within a reasonable time frame because we're shooting for the stars. So we're going to talk through that. The first thing to determining your goals is to give yourself permission to dream big. In my experience, especially ladies, we tend to play small. We tend to set targets that we know we can hit so that there's no disappointment. I specifically was born into a small little fish bowl, like a little goldfish, like a small little fish bowl, no bigger than like this cup. Okay. As I've been in this business and as I've lived my life, I've graduated to a nice solid 50-gallon tank. And that's what I would call middle class. I am now swimming freely. I've got a little bit of extra money. I live in a house that my husband and I bought. We both have nice cars. I would consider that still a fish tank. Right? I'm still confined by the goals that I have set. My next thing is to get me into some bigger pot of water, bigger pool of water, the ocean maybe, right? So give yourself permission when you're setting these goals to dream big. Like set your goal and then ask yourself, how can I make this a little bit bigger and a little bit more scary? Because that's where you're really going to test the skills that you bring to the table and challenge yourself to grow into being a better version of yourself than you were before. A shark only grows to the size of its tank. So no matter what, your goals are your tank, right? So when you set your goals, you are defining your boundaries of what you are and are not capable of. So allow yourself to just go as big as you possibly can. The next thing is that once you start like writing down all your goals, because you are allowed to have more than one, by the way, you want to start to determine what your short-term goals are and what your long-term goals are. Short-term goals are anything that can be accomplished within 6 to 12 months. Long-term goals are anything a year out or more. So if right now you're pink status, a short-term goal could be blue status, and a long-term goal could be orange or purple status. Does that make sense? And then I want you to be specific. I don't want you to just say, I want to grow a bigger team. That's a goal, but it's not specific. I want you to say, I want to grow a team of 100 women. Do you see how that is a very clear and measurable end result? Growing a big team, that's very fluid. You could add one person and consider that a success. That's not clear enough. So as you're setting your goals, you want to be very specific about what they include. All right? So that is kind of the process that you're going to go through as you start working through the rest of your 2019 and thinking about what you want to do. And this is a process that doesn't just apply to your unique business. This is a process that will apply across the rest of your life. All the goals that you have, all the dreams that you have, all the things that you want to create in your life, whether they are unique based or not, we could follow this same system, okay? So you've been specific, you've dreamed big, you've got these short-term and long-term goals. Now what? Now you want to make sure that you're framing them positively. So when you think about what the law of attraction states, where the mind goes, energy flows. And so we want to make sure that everything we're doing is creating this affirmation inside of our mind that we can and we will. So for example, if you want to improve your team retention, so say you got girls falling off left and right, you could say, I want to reduce team turnover. That's a goal, fine. But it's very fluid. It doesn't have a concrete answer. It doesn't have a concrete measurable result. Instead, you can say, I will strengthen my team and keep a hold of all existing team members for the next 3 months. Okay, so that's where the positivity comes in, because you're challenging yourself to strengthen your team bond and keep everyone that's currently on your team still on your team. Okay, so nobody's falling off or whatever. But if you just say, I want to lower fallout from my team, that is not tangible enough to really measure it in goal setting. Okay, so frame it positively and be very clear and specific about what the goal is. Okay, you cannot be excited about mediocre goals. If it's a half-ass goal, if it's something you're just lollygagging about, you're just throwing it to the wall and hoping it sticks, you are not going to show up on the days when you're tired. You're not going to show up on the days when you're sick. You're not going to show up when your team is having drama. You have to dig deeper and make your goals so ingrained in your core values that there's no reason to sleep in. Eric Thomas, who is a huge motivator in our business, says he hasn't used an alarm clock in over 20 years because his goals have him so excited that he just pops out of bed in the morning before his alarm would need to go off. All right, so we need to build these stronger, more exciting bonds about our goals. And the way that you can do that is by, first of all, asking yourself, why are you even making these goals? Why? What are you doing them for? Are you just doing them because you want to climb the ladder and progress in promotions? Are you doing it because you want to, spread awareness about the Unique Foundation and the Haven Retreat? Are you doing it because you have babies in your house that you're trying to send off to college soon and you want to make sure that they don't have to pay for anything? Like, start really thinking about why you're doing this business to begin with. Is it to look fabulous and feel good about yourself? That is good too, but you need to know why you're doing this. And then I want you to ask yourself this question. Who are your haters? Who are the people that are doubting you? Because for me, I'm motivated by haters. I'm motivated by the naysayers. I want to prove I'm a bull. I'm a Taurus, you guys. My birthday was on Monday. I am stubborn. I am strong-willed. I love to buck the system. So when someone tells me I can't do something, I'm like, watch me. Like, I look for those kinds of things. I wait for them. I'm like, who is doubting me right now? Because then it gives me something to fuel the flames a little bit. It's like gasoline to my fire. And so I want you to think about, who are the naysayers? And not just the naysayers, but who do you have something to prove? It could be the naysayers, but it could also be your kids. It could also be your husband. It could also be your circle of friends that, might not be totally invested right away. Ask yourself, it could be yourself. Who do you have to prove something to? It could be you. It could be to remind you of the magnificent being that you are and all the power that you were born with. You might just need to prove something to yourself. But you need to know who it is. So I want you guys, I'm going to post these slides. Hopefully I can post these slides in the Glam Squad team page. I want you to go through them and I want you to write these things down, because once we see them with our eyes in writing, it helps solidify it in the brain. So what do you have to prove and to who? And then how will achieving these goals change you? What does it mean for you if you hit green status and start earning the car bonus consistently? What does it mean to you if you get to earn the cruise? What do these goals, how do they change your life? Right? Be clear on what the impact is. We need to know that there is a value associated with our effort, even if we can't see it right away because we're just planting seeds. Right? We're not harvesting right away. We gotta get down into the trenches. We gotta dig the soil. We gotta plant the seeds. We gotta show up and water every day. And that feels thankless. That feels like we're operating in some sort of vicious cycle of no return for our investment on our time. So you need to know how these goals are ultimately gonna change your life. Right? What is the end result going to be? How is it going to impact your finances? How is it going to impact your time? How is it going to give you freedom? What is your legacy going to be as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a human being on this planet? What are these goals going to do for you? Okay, and then next you want to ask yourself, who is being impacted if you achieve these goals? Whose life are you changing? Do you want to feel like you're contributing to society and helping the greater good? Ask yourself that, because it's such a valuable way to look at how you are helping our society as a whole. And then last but not least, this one's a doozy. You want to ask yourself, can these goals lead to bigger goals? Question mark. Does this lead to something else? A lot of times we get to the end of a goal and we're like, well, that was great. Move on to like another hobby, another thing. Can your goal lead you to another goal? Because we want to make sure that we're always growing, we're always moving forward, we're always evolving as people. So just ask yourself if the goal that you're setting can lead you somewhere else, or if it's a dead-end road, if it's a silly goal, if it's a lackluster goal, if it's a goal that's not going to add value into the long-term goals that you have in your life. Okay, so let's talk about planning 101. So now we've talked about kind of like how to set these goals. Now let's talk about how do we think about them? How do we process them? How do we break them down into something that we can understand? And so for the sake of this training, what I did was I made the goal elite green status. I know a lot of presenters on this team are various statuses. We've got yellows, we've got whites, we've got pinks, we've got blues, we've got greens. So depending on where you're at in your journey, green status could be something that you're going for, and I thought that it might have the most impact for the team. So what you want to do is you want to draw a little graph. You want to write today, this is your starting point, and your end goal. The problem that gets us so hung up is the distance between today and that end goal. It feels overwhelming. It feels unbearable. It feels impossible, quite frankly, to climb that mountain of who you are today and who you're going to be when you hit that goal. And so the first thing that you want to do once you've identified your goal is to give yourself a moment to brainstorm. So when you're brainstorming, you want to think about every single possible thing that you can do to make this goal come to fruition. And the key to that is that it won't take 5 minutes. It won't even take 10 minutes. It's probably going to take a couple of days for you to really immerse yourself into the creative process, get the creative juices flowing. You're going to think about things while you're in the shower. You're going to think about things while you're in the car. You're going to think about things, when you're laying in bed at night. And so you can't just confine it to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You want to give yourself a couple of days to think about every single possible thing that you could think of to do in order to hit that goal. So these are the things that I wrote down that I thought were valuable for going green status. Add 50 friends a week, recruit 15 people, vendor events, find a pacing partner, hit pink status, personal development, attend trainings, hire a coach, hit blue status, build someone on your team to hit pink, build someone on your team to hit blue, host 3 parties, join some groups, follow black statuses to see what they do, go live every day, invest in good lighting, visit local salons and network with your neighborhood businesses, flash sales, and trunk events. So that's literally my data dump of ideas onto a piece of paper. There are a lot more, and you should anticipate having 30 to 50 ideas of things that you can do to get to your goal. Part 2. Now that you have your goal and you know how hard it's going to be, and you started brainstorming, the best way to eat an elephant is in small bites. So this line right here feels overwhelming. It feels impossible. You're definitely going to have some self-doubt when it comes to accomplishing today to your goal. What we should do then at that point is break it down. And then look at this small little arrow, this little cute little baby arrow we got right here. That doesn't feel quite as scary as this big long one. And once you get to that milestone, then you have another one. Okay, another small little chunk. Let me add that one in. How do you do the next one? Another chunk. And then your last chunk where you're going for it at the end. So take a massive goal and break it down into a much smaller, digestible milestones so that you can feel prepared. And then once you get that done, you're going to go back to the lesson, the system that we already just talked about when we were coming up with goals. Now you've broken your goal, your big goal, into milestones. You want to brainstorm each milestone. So let's just say, like we were talking about for green status, you want to like probably go pink status, at least if you're sitting at white or yellow. Pink status is pretty obvious. And then you want to go through and brainstorm all the things around pink status that you could possibly do, and then implement them during this chunk. Once you hit that milestone, then you move on to blue and you repeat steps 1 and 2. You brainstormed a blue status, but guess what? You got to do more to get blue status than you had at pink status because it's double. So we've talked about how to create a plan. Now let's talk about implementation. How do you get from point A to point B? It's great to understand the plan in theory. Execution is a whole nother animal. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is attaching a meaningful mantra to those goals. Like when you wake up, give yourself something, a positive word, an affirmation, something that reminds you that you are destined for greatness, something that gives you life when you first wake up. Attach a mantra to your goal. So for example, my goal for 2019, my mantra for 2019 is that I will participate relentlessly in the pursuit of my own blessings. That is my mantra for the year. And every morning when I wake up, I say that to myself. I will participate relentlessly in the manifestation of my blessings. What does that mean? It means I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to move about my day looking for ways to participate in manifesting my dreams, my goals, my desires. So find a mantra that is meaningful to you, that when you hear it, it lights a fire under your ass and you're like, it's go time. I'm ready. Another tip for implementation is to share your goals with other people. And this is one that I feel like we don't do enough because we don't want to have to face it if we fail. If we tell everybody that this is our goal, that we're running for blue status or we're going for green status, and then we fail and they start asking us, so how's green status coming along? And we're like, well, wah, wah, wah. We have to be accountable to that. So the best way to do that is to tell other people about your goals. 1, so that they can cheer for you. 2, because it asks you to show up so that you don't fail, because now other people are invested in your journey. And 3, because when we say it out loud, it's just another way to affirm it to the universe that it is our intention, right? So we want to make sure that everything that we're doing is pointing in the same direction, and that is our goal. We're doing it with our words. We're doing it with our mind through a mantra, okay? And then the next thing I would recommend is mapping out a calendar. Like actually I can't do it right now because my desk is a hot mess, but I have a jumbo sized calendar. Go through and map it out. Even if you're just starting with pink status, like what are the targets? How do you hit those? What do you have to do by when? Like make sure that if you're going to convention, that's on there. And if you're going to a training in June, that's on there. Map out all of the things that could get in your way too. Like, for example, when my kids are on spring break, my productivity plummets, okay? The amount of work I get done when my kids are home on spring break is half of what I can normally do. So I have to be realistic in my expectations during that time of the year. I have other obligations that are going to take my time from my business. So is it reasonable for me to push for that goal in April when my kids are home? Maybe not. Maybe I need to wait till May, and then I can send their little badasses off to school and focus on my business, okay? So like not only map out your goals and the targets, but also the things that could come up or the things that you already have planned, like vacations or whatever, that are going to take time away from your goals, so that you can look at the whole picture and plan more appropriately. And then we've already talked about this, but I just want to reinforce it because it's so important. You want to add timelines and dates of achievement. So, I mean, I missed Orange for 3 years. I had deadlines. I had months. I'm like, I'm going to do it this month. Nope, didn't happen. I'm going to do it this month. Nope, didn't happen. So I had to go back and reevaluate over and over and over again and just start back over. What's my plan? I need a new plan. That plan didn't work. We got to scrap it. So, but giving yourself a deadline gives you something to work towards. All right. If your deadline is flexible, your effort will be flexible. Okay. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that we are acting as if our deadlines have meaning. And when we act that way, then that's how, this is how, as a yoga teacher, the universe will respond. When there's no negotiation in what you have, what you're planning to do, then the universe will come through for you. But if you're lollygagging and pussyfooting around on it, just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Okay? And at the end of the day, or at the end of a target, whether you hit it or not, it's crucial that you sit down and you review what went right and what went wrong, because there were things that you did that were probably amazing that got you good results, and there were things that you probably did that didn't work out so much. And you need to have a one-on-one consultation with yourself about how I wrote here that you should do it daily. But honestly, I would imagine like weekly. You could do a weekly check-in. How did this week go? What was successful? Where do I need to improve? And that's how, honestly, you get better, is being able to look at yourself and say, I need to improve in this area. I had great sales, but I didn't do so good in recruiting. So now I need to focus on that. I did great in recruiting, but my team doesn't really know that I exist. So maybe I need to work more on my leadership. So you need to be able to look at yourself and say, how can I get better? Right? Because you don't know it all. I don't know it all. We don't know it all. We're learning it all as we go. So the best way to get better at it in implementation is to go back and do checks and balances and say, honestly, did I do everything I was supposed to do? Honestly, could I have worked harder on my business? Honestly, did I recruit what I needed to recruit? Honestly, did I hit my targets? And when you look at that from a not a blame-based place, but a growth-based place, it's safe. All right. So you're not blaming yourself. You're not beating yourself up about it. It's a business, right? So you got to get rid of the emotion and just look at it from an actual business run mindset. Okay. And then this is my favorite. Give yourself milestone rewards. So as you hit the milestones, give yourself some kind of treat that you wouldn't normally give yourself. Attach a prize or an incentive to yourself for hitting these milestones. Don't wait until you get green status to reward yourself. Do something in the middle. Like maybe when you hit pink status, take yourself out for a pedicure. I was talking to one of the girls on the team, and get the stone massage. Like upgrade your pedicure and start to create a more luxurious life that you can expect those results every time, right? So now it's not a special treat, but you're doing these things. You're creating a life where it becomes the new normal. It's the new normal for me to get the stone massage. There was a time and a place when I never got a single pedicure ever. Now I'm getting the hot stone and the paraffin wax all up in my toes. It's so delightful, okay? And maybe that's not your thing, but don't be afraid to reward your effort. Don't wait until the end to give yourself a treat. Do it in the middle. And that way you can validate that what you're doing is working. Look, what I'm doing is working. When I hit orange status, my goal, my treat to myself was to buy orange bottom shoes. Red bottom shoes. There ain't no orange bottom shoes unless they are like fake knockoffs from New York, okay? Red bottom shoes. For going orange, my gift to myself was to buy red bottom shoes, okay? So like that's a big one. Maybe they're smaller as pink and blue come along, but maybe when you get green, you got something bigger, and then orange comes along and it's something bigger. Treat yourself. We're not slaving away for nothing over here. All right. And then the last thing about implementation is just go. You've done all the thinking. You've done all the planning. Action is the life and breath of success. If you are not in action, you are stagnant. You are not moving anywhere. If you're not doing something, you're doing nothing. Okay, so just go. Action is the key to all success. Even if it doesn't work out, you still learned something. So just go for it. You did all that planning, now you're just going to sit around and twiddle your thumbs? No, try one of the things that you wrote down. See what happens. Okay. Spoiler alert, we're on to limitations. I'm just going to move this bad boy right over here. The number one limitation, my loves, is you. You are your own worst enemy. Okay? So let's talk about how we get in our own way. The first way is with limiting beliefs. And this is something we all face. I'm not good enough. I'm a fraud. I'm not a strong enough leader. I'm not pretty enough. I came from the wrong side of the tracks. I only have a GED. These are all my own limiting beliefs. Okay, these are things that I've thought in my own life. So if I have them at purple status and I've had them the whole way, I know that you have them too. So the first thing that you need to realize is, like, when those thoughts aren't serving you, turn them off. And I equate it to like a radio station, right? You've got all these channels in your head, and then we talk about multiple personality disorders, and we technically have that because we have this ability in our brain to think in different like dynamics all the time. So sometimes we just let ourselves spiral into these sad thoughts, these depressing, self-limiting thoughts. And the sooner you can realize you're on a bad channel, the sooner you can change it to something more uplifting, something more positive. And my way to do that is with personal development, or music is my favorite way to give myself an attitude adjustment. Music is like, for me, it just fixes everything in my heart. A good song, you jam out, you dance around, or maybe it's inspirational and it's got me crying. Like, music is a gateway to positivity, most of it. Some music is sad and depressing, but besides the emo music, there's a lot of good stuff out there. So once you can identify, the sooner and the faster you can identify your negative thinking patterns, the quicker you can get out of them and get on to something else more positive and more promoting your growth. Don't be afraid of U-turns. And I don't even like to call them failures anymore, because failures have a bad connotation. But I mean, how many of you have flipped it in the middle of the highway or on the road? You're like, I'm going the wrong way. I just gotta like flip my car right now and go the opposite direction. I was in the car the other day with somebody, and she just, like, in the middle of a 4-lane road, she was like, oh, we're going the wrong way. And she just flipped the U-turn right there. And it just is so powerful, because you can take a U-turn anytime you want. If you find yourself going down the wrong path, doing the wrong things, just do a U-turn. Turn around and go the other way. About face. That's what they say in the Army. You just turn around and go the opposite direction. Okay? Don't be afraid of U-turns. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you were smart enough to realize you were going the wrong way. Right? We got goals. We got dreams. We got visions. This isn't getting me there. Let me go the opposite way before I spend 30 minutes going the wrong direction. Get out of the Monday to Friday mindset. We have been programmed to work on a 9-to-5 Monday to Friday schedule, and we only think that work happens during those hours. But I will tell you, the magic of this business is that it happens other times, in the evenings, on the weekends. And if you're only thinking about your business from 9 to 5, you are missing the golden hour. You are missing the times of your business when people are the most active on Facebook, and also thinking about it from the mindset of doing whatever it takes. When you work a 9-to-5 job, you're getting paid hourly. They're literally exchanging dollars for time. But when you're working your own business, time is not a factor. You are exchanging effort for income, not time for income. And that's a huge difference and shift from what we've learned in our normal jobs. Okay, we are exchanging effort for income now, not time for income. All right. And then I already talked about this once, but I'll hit on it again, is being willing to look at your faults and your weaknesses and thinking about them from a place of growth rather than a place of lack. So when you think about your weaknesses, it's important for you to say things like, I'm terrible at organization. Do you guys want, I mean, you can't really see my desk right now. I'm terrible at organization. And so I realized that about myself. So now I've tried to put things in place to help me be more organized so that I can follow up with my customers appropriately and not miss out on getting those follow-up orders and those reorders and those people that might become presenters because I don't know who ordered from me when. So I put systems in place to help me with one of my weaknesses. Looking at myself and saying I'm terrible at organization, then, oh my goodness, then I could fix it and put systems in place to make my overall business run more effectively. Okay, so it's not something to be ashamed about if you have weaknesses. We all have them. It's actually a strength to be able to look at your weaknesses and say, I recognize this isn't my strength. What can I do to get better at it? Okay. And here's another one. Don't expect a no, but be ready for them. So one of the things that I've learned in my business is that there's this book, it's called Go for No. And the whole idea is that you're intentionally reaching out to people to get no's. And once you get a certain amount of no's, you're going to start to get yeses. But I kind of feel there's a flaw in that, because when you're going for no, you're looking for no's. You're assuming that everybody is going to tell you no. And that is a terrible way to approach any prospect if you're already assuming from the jump that they're going to tell you no. You should go in expecting a yes, but being prepared for a no. My feelings aren't going to be hurt if they told me no, but I'm not actually going for no. I'm going for yes. Okay, so that's a big one too. Don't expect a no. Don't assume nobody wants to buy. Don't think that because there are Facebook pictures of cats that they don't have any money. Don't expect a no. Expect a yes, but be prepared for a no. Okay? And then this is the one that this is my most recent lesson, and it's that success takes total immersion. If you want to get to the top in this business, you have to start bleeding purple. It has to be your ever waking thought. From the time your eyes open in the morning until the time your eyes go to sleep, you're thinking about how you can get better in your business. You're thinking about how you can help your team. You're thinking about who you can reach out to sponsor. It's taking every minute of your life. And I know that might sound overwhelming, but until you're willing to go all in, you're not going to get the results you need to see, that you're wanting to see. And I half-assed it because I got comfortable at green status, because green status is something that, it's a very respectable status within the company. Very respectable. I got lots of things. I got to go to Utah. It was enough to have me earning the trips consistently. But deep down inside, I wanted more, but I wasn't doing more. I wasn't going all in. So don't discredit the idea that you have to go all in. You can't be working a couple other MLMs on the side, and I'm just going to put that out there. If you're working a hair thing and a nail thing and a makeup thing all at once, you are literally spreading yourself so thin. Your energy needs to be honed in. You need to give one thing everything you've got. All right? So total immersion. You just have to give it everything you got. And then that way, I doubt this would happen, but just say you gave it everything. You went all in for 6 months and then you still failed. At least then, with honor and integrity, you could say, I gave it everything I had. It just wasn't for me. But if you were working a couple of other MLMs and you were only doing it 2 hours a week here and there part-time, and it doesn't work out, you can't say it wasn't for you because you didn't do it. You only gave a small percentage of what you had to offer. You guys are talented, amazing women with all of these beautiful brains, and you bring skills and experience to this business. And if you're not throwing everything you got at it, you're not going to get where you need to go. All right. And then this is the end of the slide deck, okay? This one step, choosing a goal and sticking to it, changes everything. Set your goals and stick to it. And this quote is something I think about all the time. What if just this one time you didn't quit on yourself? What if just this one time you believed in yourself? What if this was the thing that was going to change your life? Okay, so I told you guys it was going to be a professional one. I had the slide deck. I forgot to record half of it, but I still think it was pretty powerful. So before we go on to anything else, I would like to hear if you guys have any questions about goal setting or any additional ideas or contributions to what I had in my slide deck. You're going to have to unmute yourself because I can't. Let me just go back to this view so I can see everybody. Does anybody have any questions about goal setting? Would anybody like to tell me how amazing my slide deck was and how valuable this information is for validation? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I really think goal setting is so important, you guys. And I would love to hear, like 2 months from now, how it's going. I really hope you start implementing this. I hope you tonight you're like, let me just start my goals. Anybody else have anything to add?
Marie did a fantastic job. I can tell you that in the I work in a dental office. It's not like a big corporate America type of thing, but my boss is very forward thinking, and we meet once a month and we map goals and we talk about numbers, we talk about goals, and we have plans. We don't just say we're going to do this much dollars this month, or we're going to bring in this many new patients this month. We have specific actions, and then we assign tasks to people to complete those actions, because we're a team, of course. So, and I think too, as a leader, when you're looking at your team and you're helping us map our goals, it's in turn making a big goal for the whole entire company, which is very, very cool way to do it. So I love this thinking, and I'm used to that thinking, and great job.
Thank you. Okay, so, and then I just want to finish on one more thing. I had a lot, and it's mainly because I didn't show up last week, and I only did that quick 10-minute live. My brain is still spiraling from Most Powerful Women, which leads me into the idea of conventions right around the corner. I know most of you are going to convention. Those of you that are still on, most of you are. Some of you can't, and I understand financial restraints, and I understand that it might not just be like feasible right now, but if you can, please do everything you can to come to convention. It's going to change your view on your business. They just like did an entire leadership chat where they gave numbers, and it was something like 85% retention for people that went to convention versus only 50% retention to people that didn't go to convention. So there's a lot of people that fall off for many different reasons, but it strengthens their commitment when they go to convention. They learn more, they bond more. That's my favorite thing, is the bonding thing. And they just get immersed in the culture and surround themselves with like-minded women, and women that'll take a selfie for you perfectly on the first try everywhere you go, because we're all professionals and we all know up, tilt it down, take 5. Like, we all know that. Like, that's like how it's done, and no one's judging you. No one's like, oh, another selfie? No, it's just so amazing to be around like-minded people that have goals like you do, and the energy around convention is just astronomical. Separately, for anybody that is going to convention, we are having a team event, a Glam Squad team event. We already have 12 ladies going. We're going to have that on Wednesday night. We're going to do 2 things. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to prepare donation bags. So I'm still working with a couple of charities in the neighborhoods of Orlando. One of them is a victim crisis center for women that are going through, that have been raped and they're going through the process of all of that. So we would make bags for them. They'll have like little things in it. I'm working with a couple of charities to see which one we could donate to have the best impact. But as a team, we will collect donations, we'll prepare these little bags and we'll all deliver them. And then our team event will be an escape room on Wednesday night. We will go try to break free from some crazy thing. And I think it's going to be so much fun. And I want you all to be there. I don't want you to miss this exciting stuff. Okay. So that's kind of all I had to say. If there's any other questions about other things besides this, we could take them now. Nobody? All right. Well, I got to figure out how to fill in the rest of that training, that entire 2 slides that there's no audio. All right, you guys. I love you guys so much. I hope that this has fired you up. I hope this has empowered you to take more control in your business and to set some really exciting goals. And I'll talk to you next week. Love ya.